Remember to show the steps of the draw angle and also get the reference angle for each one. Does anyone have questions? Okay, Evan, which question are you working on?
I actually just finished it.
Okay, all right, then you can raise your hand. And make sure you remember to check sign at the end, okay? Positive, negative. About 15 minutes should be enough time to finish all these. So let me know if you get stuck. Okay, Harry, which question have you finished?
Through G,
Okay, you're working on G?
H.
H, okay. Okay, at the same time, I'm gonna just go over A and B. Okay, A and B are smaller angles, should be easier. Can I have answer from Ivy? What do you have for A?
I got 1/2.
1/2, okay, thank you. And Angela, what do you have for B?
Sorry, √3/2.
√3/2, okay. And Chris, what's your answer for E?
1/√3.
1/√3, okay. And question F? Okay, Harry, do you have answer for F?
1/2.
1/2, okay. And let's have Jenny. What's your answer for G?
I only did up to F so far, sorry.
Which one are you on?
I'm doing G right now.
Oh, okay, okay. So when you finish G, let me know, okay?
Okay.
Right.
I got -1/√3
Which one?
for E.
For E, -1/√3, okay. All right, thanks, Chris. And Annie, what's your answer for H?
-1/√2.
Okay, all right, so we will go over, okay, when everyone's done. Please raise your hand if you finished or tried all the questions up to H. Okay, let me go over A first, okay? A is the 30-degree only, right? So that one's easy, right? So 30 degrees, so 30 degree is the reference. So if it's 30 degree, it's the small angle, small side, right? So we'll be 1 there, √3, 2. We want sine. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So 1/2. And first quadrant is everything positive. Okay, so that one is correct. Very good. And then question B. Question B is -60 degree. So remember, you have to turn to the clockwise, -60 degree. So your reference angle is right there, so it has to be 60. Do not write negative. 60 degree is a big angle, big side, right? So like that. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent should be 1. Okay, so if you wrote √3, probably you got the sides at the wrong place, right? Remember, that's why at the beginning I said big angle, big side, right? Small angle, small side. So if this reference angle is 60, across should be √3, okay? So adjacent over hypotenuse, right? So answer should be 1/2. Okay. Any question? If you got it wrong and then still don't understand why it's wrong, let me know. Okay. Raise your hand if you finish H. Okay, Jenny. So what's your answer for G?
For G, I got 1/√3.
1/3. Okay. Right. So we'll go over. Okay. So please make sure you, especially the one you have your answer on the screen. Okay. So let's go over E. Okay. Question E. 150 degree. 150 degree will turn to second quadrant. So that makes our reference angle. This one should be 30. So 30 degree, small angle, right? Small angle, small side. So that would be 1. Okay, √3 and 2. Tangent, tangent is opposite over adjacent, right? So 1/√3. And in quadrant 2, right? This is in quadrant 2. Quadrant 2 is only sine is positive. Everything else should be negative. Yeah. Okay, very good. You remember to put negative sign. Okay. Only sine is positive there. Anyone has questions? Okay, and last one is getting bigger angle, right? So question F, this one, it needs to turn more than one turn, right? 360, 720, right? And then 1080, and then 60 more. So actually it's in, is it in first quadrant? Right, 1080, yeah, first quadrant. Okay, and then you make the reference angle. So this is 60. Big angle, big sine, right? So √3, 1, 2. Any questions so far? And then opposite over hypotenuse, right? So it should be √3/2. And this is in first quadrant, so everything should be positive. Okay? Okay, Jiawen and Marcus, are you guys doing okay? Are you done? Jiawen and Marcus, are you there? Jiawen.
And I think I did it wrong. I think I will redo it.
Okay, which one? Which one you got it wrong?
G and H.
Okay, G and H. Okay. Do you understand how to do it now?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's look at G. Okay. G is 780 degree. And this is a positive angle, right? So one turn is 360. Okay, and then another turn, 720. 720 needs 60 degree more. Okay, so that makes it, reference angle should be 60 degree. Okay, 60 degree is a big angle, so the opposite side should be √3. Okay, big angle, big side. 1 and 2. We want tangent, right? Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So it should be the other way around, okay? Be careful, √3 over 1. √3 over 1, you can just write √3. And then we need to check sign. This one is in first quadrant, so all positive, right? So we just keep it positive. Any questions? Is it too fast? Okay, last one, cosine -945. Okay, let's turn negative, right? So we have turn -360, -720, and then we need to turn -225 more, so that will be here. Okay, -360, -720, and then -225. So that makes the reference angle, right? Reference angle is a 45 degree. 45 degree is the isosceles one, right? 1, 1√2. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, right? And then it's in second quadrant. Second quadrant, cosine has to be negative. Okay, so that's good. Okay, last chance. Anyone has questions about any of them? Okay, your homework will be something like this, okay? Okay, can you raise your hand if you are ready to move on? We just have one last thing, okay, to cover. Okay, Angela, Harry, and Jenny, any questions about any of the question we did here? Okay, so make sure you follow the step, okay, and have your notes beside you when you are doing the homework, okay? Last thing is this one, okay? This one is much easier, okay? It doesn't take a lot of steps to figure it out. So the special thing about these is compared to what we had before. All the question here, right? The question we just did, all the angle, they are inside the quadrant, right? They are either in quadrant 1, 2, 3, or 4, right? But then sometimes, what if the angle, they don't stop in the quadrant? They are on the axis, okay? So for example, like angle that has 270 degree, right? 90 degree, the angle they turn to, like they stop on the axis. So that's why it's called angles on X or Y axis. So when that happens, the triangle actually disappears. Okay, so what I mean by that is, let's say we draw a comic strip, okay, like an animation, right? So let's say we have 30 degree, right? 30 degree is something we're familiar with, right? 30 degree. So when you have 30 degree, you have the opposite side, right? This one is 1, right? Root 3 and 2. And then it continue getting bigger. Okay, so this side, let's say this one, okay, let's use the next one, let's use 45, right? Bigger than 30, 45. Okay, so what are the three sides for 45, Elaine? What are the three sides for 45 degree?
1, 1, and root 2.
Yeah, 1, 1, root 2. Okay, so those are the sides. Okay, and then so let's say, okay, let's try this way. Okay, let's not use these numbers. Let me erase that again. Okay, we have to consider it because the ratio is different now. Let's say the points, okay, the points are moving, they're getting bigger in a circle. We're keeping I want to keep the hypotenuse all the same, okay? So let's say I always keep the hypotenuse to be 1. So the angle is turning, okay, getting bigger. Right, so it's like the clock, okay, the hands on the clock. So as it moves along, right, let's say this one is 30 degree like before, right, and then 60 degree, okay. So the size doesn't have to be those ones, okay. It's just here I change them all into one so we can compare. So if I keep on moving it bigger, sorry, this one should be 45. Okay, 45 degree. Okay, and then let's say I make it even bigger now. Let's make it 60 degree. Right, that doesn't look like bigger. Steeper, right? So let's say it hit this one, 60 degree. So hypotenuse is still 1. Okay, so if you compare these picture, you can see that keeping the hypotenuse the same, but then the other two sides, their size, their length is changing, right? So let's draw one more, okay? Now as it goes to close to 90 degree, so let's say this one, right? This is really tiny now, right? Because the angle gets much bigger, right? So 30, maybe this one is 30, this one is 45, maybe this one is 70, right? Maybe this one is 80 degree, right? It gets bigger and bigger. So the point here, right, is moving towards the y-axis. So eventually, once it goes to 90 degree, there's no more triangle. Can you see that? Can you raise your hand if you understand this picture?
Jason, could you re-explain that? You cut out for me.
Yeah.
I think my Wi-Fi is lagging a little.
Okay. So what I'm trying to show is how the side length is changing as the angle gets bigger and bigger as it reaches to 90 degree. Right. So you can see I'm keeping all the hypotenuse the same, but as the angle gets bigger, the bottom side, the adjacent, right, the green one, right, the green side is shrinking. Does that make sense, Evan?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so as you go to 90 degree, the adjacent becomes 0. There's no more adjacent side because triangle shrinks. And then your hypotenuse and opposite, okay? The opposite, I'll use the purple one, okay? Opposite will be here. Opposite, right? You can see the opposite is getting taller. And then eventually when it reaches to 90 degree, let me highlight that, right? 90 degree, then the opposite and hypotenuse become the same. Okay, so what does that tell us then? Okay, so let's write it down. Okay, for this 90 degree, okay, the adjacent is 0, right? Because it disappears. Opposite will be the same as hypotenuse because they collapse together. Okay, so let's say they both equal to 1, okay, because they are the same. So it doesn't matter what number, okay, let's say we call it 1, right? So if at 90 degree we have that, then we can use it to figure out the ratios, okay? So now you look at the picture on the top. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, right? And for 90 degree, let's look at 90 degree. 90 degree, we'll use these numbers, right? Opposite, right? Opposite is 1. Hypotenuse is 1, so 1 over 1. So ratio here will be 1. Okay? Opposite over hypotenuse. I'm talking about this picture. Opposite is 1. Hypotenuse is 1. So you divide, they equal to 1. 1 over 1. Let's look at cosine. Okay? If the angle turns to 90 degree, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Right? So cosine, adjacent is 0. Hypotenuse is 1, so 0 over 1, so it'll be 0. Any questions so far how we get these two? Those two numbers, what it actually means is anytime when the angle stops there, right? For example, the first picture, the 1 is, for example, it could be sine of 90 degree because the angle stops there, right? Or it could be sine of coterminal, right? You turn 90 and then turn another 360. It also stopped there, right? So 360 plus 90, so that's like 450, will also be the same, okay? And etc. Anytime when it turns to the same place, stop here, then it will equal to 1, okay, for sine. So similar, okay, for the 0, right, cosine of 90 will be 0. Cosine of, let's say if we turn negative, right, turn this way, negative 270 will also be 0, okay, and etc. Okay, you have infinite number of coterminal. Any questions? Okay, so the number I put inside the box, those are the ratios, okay, because you don't see triangle anymore, the triangle disappeared. Okay, that's why it's very special. So anyone can tell me what will be the tangent at 90 degree? Tangent at 90 degree, what would that equal? Look at the sides. Tangent at 90 degree. Anyone? Tangent is opposite over adjacent, right? What do you think? Opposite over adjacent, what would they equal? Chris, what do you think?
I don't know.
What's the opposite? What's the value for opposite?
Uh,
Look at the picture here. What's opposite?
1,
Yeah. Over adjacent. What's adjacent?
0,
Okay. So tangent will be what over what?
0,
What over what?
1 over 0.
1 over 0. Can I do 1 over 0?
No.
No, right? You cannot divide by 0. 0 cannot be in the denominator. So for tangent at 90 degree, this one is not applicable. or you can say it's undefined. Okay, this means undefined. Okay, so either tangent 90 or tangent negative 270, right, etc. Anytime when the angle stop on the positive y-axis, you get undefined. Okay, so with the same idea, we can also figure out the rest of the spot. Okay, so I'm gonna write out the result here. Okay, so if it's on the x-axis, it will be 0. Okay, for sine. This side will also be 0. This one will be negative 1. Okay, fill that out first. And then this one will be 1. This will be negative 1. And this will be 0. Okay. Make sure you copy the right number. Okay, this is very important. Make sure you double check you copy the right number in. And then for tangent, you have not applicable on the top and bottom. Okay, and then 0, 0 on the sides. Okay, can you guys please raise your hand when you finish copying down, okay? Raise your hand if you finished writing all the numbers down. Okay, and let me try to explain the 0, okay? Why this one is 0 quickly, okay? So think about the triangle underneath. If we go backwards, right? And then we push the angle down, okay? Instead of 30, let's go down. Really tiny now. So you can see the opposite side is much shorter, right? When the angle gets small. So if it's really tiny, then at the end, right? If the angle goes to 0 degree, right? If the angle is 0 degree, then your opposite side will be gone. Okay, and then the adjacent and hypotenuse will become the same. Okay, they collapse together. So it's kind of like the opposite of what's happening at 90 degree. Okay, so this part is special because you don't see triangles anymore. Anywhere in between you can see the triangles. Okay, the other ones at 0 degree, at 90 degree, 180 degree, those places the sides collapse and then one of the sides disappear. Okay, Jenny, have you finished copying? Marcus, are you done?
I'm still copying.
Okay, raise your hand when you finish copying. And I'll show you how to use this chart, okay? All right, so now you understand where the chart and numbers come from, okay? How do you remember it and how do you use it? So first thing, you use the letter, okay? The sign is spelled as S-I-N, right? So you have I in the middle. The letter I looks like the number 1. So you get 1 and negative 1, okay? Just a little trick to help you remember. So similar cosine, you have O, right? O looks like the number 0. And so you have 0 in the middle. Okay, if you know the middle is 0 and 0, then the other two location is 1 and negative 1. Okay, And tangent is AN, right? TAN. So I just flip it and then not applicable, which means undefined. Okay, undefined. So the only thing you need to remember is make sure you have 0, 0 on these two ends for tangent. Do not put 1 and -1. Okay, the two start. Okay, any questions? Okay, so how do you use it? Okay, so for example, if I see a question like question G, okay, cosine 90. So you look at cosine, right? Cosine 90 degree, right? First step, you got to draw the angle, right? 90 degree turns to here. So cosine 90 is here. So the answer, right? You look at the box, answer is 0. So that's your answer. Okay, now even if you have a negative angle, you just turn the negative, it doesn't matter. You just look at which place you stop at, then you look at the answer. So let's try one more. Let's say I want to do sine 0. Okay, question F. Right, 0 degree. 0 degree will be here, right? And this question is a sine. So sine 0, right? Sine 0 will be here, right? You look at the chart on the top. Right, so the answer is 0. Okay, so can you raise your hand if you understand how to do these two questions? Okay, Colin, any trouble?
No problem.
All right, so well, this won't take that long. Okay, so I'll let you guys finish the rest of the question now, and then when you are done, you can raise your hand. We'll check the answers. Okay, then that will be all for today. Okay, have you finished? Raise your hand when you're done. Okay, Angela, question A. What's your answer? Angela?
Sorry, hello?
Yeah, what's your answer? A.
I got 0.
Yep, very good. Okay, 0 degree will be here, will be 0. Okay, Jenny, how about B?
Negative 180.
No, we are looking for ratio.
For B, right?
Yeah. 180 will turn to here, right?
Uh-huh.
So what's the number you see on the chart?
For sin is 0.
0, yeah. Okay. Okay, so you look at this one, right? Sine of 180. Okay, next one, Evan, C.
0.
Yeah, okay. 270 degree will be down here, so it'll be 0. Okay. Marcus, question D. Marcus,
Undefined.
question D is
Oh, 0.
180 degree, right?
0.
Yeah, 180 degree is here, okay? So it should be 0. Okay, and Waylon, question E.
I got -1.
-1, okay, good. So 180 degree will be here, so it'll be -1, right? And H, Colin.
Give me a second. I lost the page. H, I did 0.
You get 0, yeah. -180 will be here, so it'll be 0. Okay, next one, Chris.
I got 1.
Yeah, okay, 90 degree will be 1. And then Harry, J. Harry,
I got -1.
-1, okay, 540, so 1 full turn and 180 degree, so it should stop on the left side, okay, cosine is -1 on the left. And Elaine, question K.
Non applicable.
Okay, or you can say undefined, right? Or you can even write 0 with the slash, that's also undefined. Okay, last one, Annie.
-1.
Yeah, okay, 270 degree stops here, okay, so at -1, okay? So you guys did great, okay? That will be all for today. If you have any questions, please stay after class, and then I will send out the homework later, okay? Have a great weekend, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You're
Bye.
welcome.
Bye.
Bye.